What's up, party people? It's Dan, your basement guitar superstar. Today I want to talk about something a little bit different. I have actually filmed this video before, and the sound and picture were not syncing up with each other, so here we go again. And I want to ask a question in this video, and I know some people are going to be triggered by it because there are a ton of fans of this band out there. I myself am one and have been a huge GIANT fan of these guys since 1995 when their debut record came out, and that is the Foo Fighters. And I think I want to ask the question, are the Foo Fighters washed up? And here's why. So there comes a point in every band's life where their original songs that they're making just aren't cutting it anymore. And I want to know in the comments, I want some dialogue on this, if you guys think Foo Fighters are getting to that point or not. And we're going to go over why I'm asking that question pretty soon. But let me preface this by saying I have been a giant fan of Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters. Again, ever since 1995 when their debut record came out, I heard I'll Stick Around on the radio and absolutely loved it. And Dave Grohl, to me, has been the absolute epitome of consistency in the music industry. He's written great song after great song after great song for years and years and years. And so all the way from I'll Stick Around, their debut album, their self-titled, up to Wasting Light, which is actually my favorite Foo Fighters record, believe it or not. I love how they went like old school on that, and they recorded on like a analog recorder in Dave Grohl's garage, essentially. I absolutely love that. And like the Pretender off of Echo, Silence, Patience, and Grace is my favorite Foo Fighters song ever. So I love the band. I've been a fan for a long time. Dave Grohl used to be in my top 5 for favorite guitar players. He has kind of gone down that list a little bit. He's still in my top 10 for sure. But here's why I want to ask the question about this. So I think if I remember right, Wasting Light came out in 2011, right? Great album. Didn't sell as many copies as I thought. I thought it'd go platinum or multi-platinum. Just how good it was. Every song was great. They were all catchy. They sounded like Foo Fighters. Kind of gone back to their roots from their first record. Rosemary is one of my favorite songs of all time by them. That's on that record. And it was just fantastic. And then Sonic Highways came out. That was okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. It was like, cool. You know, they had some memorable songs on it that I like, that I listen to on Spotify pretty frequently. But then they took a little break, it seemed like, and we were anticipating Concrete and Gold. I was super hyped about that record. They did all kinds of stuff. They were on like James Carden's show for Carpool Karaoke and a bunch of other stuff. And it seemed like the momentum had gone their way. Pat Smear was back fully into the band. He had been, I guess, technically since like 2010 time period. And I love Pat Smear. For those of you that don't know who he is, maybe I'll do a separate video, but he's always been kind of a sideman. Started out with Nirvana and then ended up in the Foo Fighters for a couple records. Parted ways with them to, raise his family and kind of take a step back from the music industry, and then got asked to rejoin, I think around 2010, 2011. I'll have to look that up. Maybe do a clarification if I need to, but I don't know if it was Pat Smear coming back in the band, and I don't think it was because he's awesome. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's the water and Modesto, but Concrete and Gold came out. I was super hyped for that record. I went and bought it the first day. I want to say it like Best Buy when they were still selling CDs, or Target or wherever it was. Yeah, I think it was Best Buy at the time. And I listened to that record 3 times, and I was like, Dave Grohl, are you kidding me right now? So that record was a turd, and I was willing to forgive that, right? Because, every band has had a record that's a giant pile of crap. And so I was like, okay, he got it out of his system. We're good to go. This isn't going to happen again. Fast forward to 2020. Foo Fighters want to put out another record. I'm getting excited about it because, I'm still a huge Dave Grohl fanboy, right? And I heard they have some new music coming out. And then it gets delayed because of the pandemic hitting, obviously. And then it comes out. It's called Medicine at Midnight. And here's what I think about this album. In the words of Henning Pauly, who I absolutely love and is hilarious, this album sucks hairy, crusty donkey balls. It is that bad. I cannot make it through. I couldn't make it through any of the first 5 songs on that record. I tried listening to all. I couldn't make it through any of them, especially not the first 5. I don't know what they're thinking. Like, it's okay for bands to experiment, but when you go a completely different direction that doesn't sound anything like anything you've ever done in the past, or you're just out of gas. So my question to you guys, are the Foo Fighters washed up? Because I think that the question's legit now, right? And what I mean by washed up, let's clarify that term. What I mean by washed up is they've gotten to a point where just can't write any good original music anymore. Or they aren't writing hit songs or stuff that gets played on the radio or stuff that the fans are even enjoying. I don't know anybody that likes, besides maybe 1 or 2 people, that likes Medicine at Midnight as a record. And I don't know very many people that like Concrete and Gold. And I know I'll use another band as an example. I thought that Bush, the band, who I'm a huge fanboy of, those of you that know I watch the channel, I try as hard as possible to put Bush riffs in every video. I thought they were the same way. When Black and White Rainbows came out, I was like, okay, if this is the hill that Gavin Rossdale wants to die on musically, I will support him because I am like the #1 fanboy. I've loved everything he's put out so far. If this is the hill he wants to die on, I am totally fine. And they come back, guns a-blazing, and make an awesome grunge roots record that totally blew me away. It's one of my favorite Bush records. Foo Fighters did not do that. And they are to a point now. Let's not kid each other. Foo Fighters have had a ton of great songs up until this point. They could tour and play 100 shows a year on just their hit songs, their stuff that's been top 40, and sustain their careers for the next 20, 30 years if they wanted to. They are to that point. They've earned that right to be able to do that, to be able to do what Foreigner, for instance, is doing now. I love Foreigner. They're one of my all-time favorite bands. Those guys are literally just playing their hit songs now. They're not writing any new music, which I'm totally fine with. I think the Foo Fighters might be to that point, guys. And again, I know this is going to trigger some Foo Fighters fans, but we need to start asking these questions, I feel like. And again, I'm a giant Dave Grohl fanboy. Absolutely love him, but dude, a mediocre record and then 2 giant turds right in a row. Maybe the guy's lost it. He can't write good songs anymore. And I get it. Like, his kids are getting older. They're in activities. He has a lot of distractions outside of doing the band. I get it. That's fine. Like, I don't expect him to churn out great songs for the rest of his life. But dude, if you're spent, if your well's dry of good ideas, like, Dave Grohl would totally get, if they just said, screw it, we're not making any more albums. It's all going to be greatest hits. We're going to release B-sides that have, like, stuff that didn't make our first 6 or 7 records as albums or EPs or whatever for the fans to be able to consume. I'm totally fine with that. They are to the point where they have earned that right. And I think maybe they need to start considering that, or maybe we need to ask a question. Because they could put on a 2 or 3 hour show with the hit songs they have already. Throw drum and guitar solos in there. Play some of your exotic stuff. Play your cover of Prince's Darling Nikki, which is friggin' amazing. I love their version of it better than Prince's version of it, which I know is going to be blasphemy for some people. But I love that song. I love A320, I think it's called, from the Godzilla soundtrack. That was one of my first favorite Foo Fighters songs. I love that song. They could totally play that live, right? They could play B-sides from their records that were great songs, but never got played live or didn't get played live after a certain point. And I think they're to that point, guys. And I want to know what you think in the comments. Are the Foo Fighters washed up? Because unfortunately, I think they've gotten to that point. They just need to start playing their hits and going on tour with that instead. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. If you were entertained by this video or found the subject matter fun or interesting, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button for me. Hit that little bell symbol so you know when I have additional content coming out. As always, thank you so much for watching and have fun playing. Please make sure you keep the comments section respectful. Again, I love Foo Fighters. I'm still a huge fan of theirs, but I think we need to ask the question. All right, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching and have fun playing.